I was curious to visit some of the other villages in the area. Aside from the Grumpy village, I knew about 2 others. I wouldn't say I was angry at the merchant for spreading rumours on his travels, and to be honest, I didn't even know if he had. But if it's possible to find a productive way to channel your angst, it's good to take it. That's what I thought, at least, as I batted away the horde of zombies on the roof of the barn. Anyway, where was I? Yes, it would be good to reach out to the other villagers. If anything, to give them some idea of who I was. I hoped they'd be friendly. I had never seen so much equipment intact after fighting zombies before, although I don't think I'd ever fought that many either. It was a shame that everything they had dropped looked like it was falling apart. I'd sensed some magic emanating from the gold leggings and the leather boots, which was confirmed as Nellie lightly glowed in their presence. For the time being, I squirreled them away. I was shocked when I found out Nellie didn't know how to make the chainmail boots, and I teased her lightly for it. I told Nellie I didn't want them anyway, and into the chest they went. For the upcoming journey, some new boots would be useful though. There were a few bits of housekeeping to take care of before I departed. I had found fish hiding in the kelp when Shudder was taking a particularly loud bath. Again, I tried to lure Shudder to join Poof in the barn. Even with the temptation of a bushel of wheat, he preferred the comfort of indoors. Poof was looking at Shudder like he was an idiot, although I was also receiving a very similar look. I probably shouldn't have spoiled Shudder with his own bedroom inside, but I couldn't just leave him with no food. To my knowledge, he hadn't figured out how to open the chests in the kitchen, and I didn't fancy his chances. Shudder made Two Bone seem like a genius. At times. Nellie had no objections either, and was beaming when I learnt how to make carpets. With that, I had said my goodbyes. On my way to Copperwater Cave, I traversed down the gravelly cliffs to the boat, along the coast under the rocky plateau, where I was joined by 2 dolphins, all the while bypassing the dirty slopes. The lava waterfall marked the mouth of the small river where Copperwater Cave nestled. Once there, it wasn't far to the nearby farming village. When I arrived, all the villagers were running for cover. I suppose there was a light rain. Previously they had been very welcoming here, but at this time they weren't even sparing me a moment's glance. A flash of lightning put things into perspective for me, and it wasn't long before the monsters started to emerge. I held my sword aloft as thunder filled the sky, and I prepared for combat with some food, and rotten flesh for Two Bone close to hand. That was a good thing too, as I ended up needing plenty of it. Two Bone guarded me like his own life depended on it, and together we repelled the handful of monsters that found their way to the surface. In the night, I caught a far-off Enderman watching me. I was close to holding out the rest of the storm in a nearby cave when the rain abruptly stopped and the air cleared. In the relative peace, I found the Enderman and was happy to learn it was in fact Guest. It was very difficult to tell without their imparted visions. We stood together as the sun rose on the farming village, and its beauty took me aback somewhat. I was dragged out of that moment when Guest commandeered my senses to show me bread. This wasn't the first time they'd asked me for food, and if it wasn't for the sudden shift out of the induced euphoria, it wouldn't bother me one bit. Readjusting to reality, I offered them some of mine, but they only looked at it before looking back at me. Fine, don't have any. Maybe I had misinterpreted what they were trying to say. In the crisp morning, I met some of the locals. They were glad to welcome me to their home and told me it was called Lushville. They remembered who I was, and perhaps that's why they were so quick to tell me the name of their village, before I made one up for them. I hoped I hadn't inappropriately earned a reputation as a gossip, although from the way word was spreading around town, that might be helping me fit in. Some of them had seen me fighting off monsters in the night, and one of them was even excited that they got to watch me in action. Their friendliness extended to their willingness to trade, but I was still without any emeralds to purchase anything. The difference was this time, I made a note of all the things they might be willing to buy off me. As usual, when I wrote anything down in Nellie's pages, it soon disappeared, but she would remember. The villagers were very interested in purchasing potatoes, which was a shame because I wasn't growing any back at the homestead. Despite their own successful efforts to grow wheat, one of the farmers said that they could never have enough and would buy some of that too. Not wanting to ignore the kindness I had been shown, with their permission, I spent a little time fixing up the toolsmith's workshop, to which she was immensely grateful. After the day's labours, we gathered in the village square and merrily chatted. I wondered where everyone was, as despite the village's size, it seemed quite sparsely populated. The mood shifted slightly, and they told me between the illager and monster attacks, they were all that was left. The silence was broken as one of the farmers said that it looked like I was talking to an Enderman this morning. The toolsmith interjected, asking him if I looked like the sort that would fraternise with monsters. I didn't say anything, but that still felt like a lie. Changing the subject, I asked if I could store some things here before I set off. They gave me one better and said I should stay the night. Before bed, I popped some odds and ends I didn't need in one of their chests and noticed some leather in there too. I also had a quick look at an anvil and a brewery stand, the latter being a complete mystery to me. As I got myself comfortable in one of their spare huts, I couldn't help but beam at Nellie and Two-Bone following the lovely day I'd had here. That night, I had dreamed of the vision of bread that Guest had shown me, and in the morning, I think I knew what they were trying to tell me. I gifted the villagers with some of my homemade bread as a goodbye present, to which they were very receptive. When I told them I was planning to visit the other village just over the squat mountain, they gave each other a look and asked me if I was sure I wanted to go there. It seems they didn't get on. As I trudged through the slosh, I thought about the nurturing rain that must have helped to give this place its name. I could barely see my next destination through the clouds and fog, but the faint glow of torches and Lushville's parting sentiments told me I hadn't imagined it last time I was here. On this occasion, I was much better prepared. I don't know what the chances were of getting all those zombie drops in the fight at the beginning, but it felt very lucky. Even luckier considering that they were only zombies attacking. I think if there were one or two skeletons thrown in there and a creeper, I probably would have panicked. There were a few baby zombies actually. After that fight, a few ran up there and they beat me up a little bit. Two-Bone saved me pretty much, so lucky he's around. So on the last day, or right at the end of the episode, it was day 100, so Fool made it. And he's level 23, which is the highest that he's been. I'm sure I haven't just jinxed that. So anyway, thank you everyone, and I hope you enjoy.